are you guys?
We are doing fine. How are you?
Good.
Girls. Hey, looking good, looking good.
Try,
I know, right?
trying to.
And feeling good, right? We're
And
here.
feeling good.
We're
Yes.
here.
yes.
We're
Yes.
here.
Right. Right.
So, yes, we are here. So, welcome to another edition of Brand Rewind Live. It is Thursday, December 1st. Here we are, December.
Yay,
Where did
December.
it go?
Where did this year go, you guys? Oh my
It
God.
flew
So,
by. It flew
Yes.
by.
so what is Christmas is around the corner. So going into these stores and holiday music and all the Christmas ornaments and yards, it is pretty. It's very pretty, very
Yeah.
festive.
Yeah.
It's a nice. Well, we haven't gotten any snow yet. So speaking of, so I'm Denise Kegler, MDK Brand Management, and I'm coming to you from a cold but no snow, Boston, Massachusetts. Where's the snow? There's no
I
snow here.
know, I know, I know. Yes, same here. Petit Abdul Razak with the Stylista Group. Same situation. Very cold, but no snow. New York City.
Hmm.
Hi, everyone. I'm Barika Bell, and I am with B3 Media Solutions, and I'm coming to you from a cool Los Angeles, California. Also, no snow.
But it's funny. We were watching the news in the mountains in Northern California. There is
Yeah.
a lot of
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
they get snow all the time, and even if you go to like Big Bear, they
yeah,
get snow.
yeah,
Usually in January, February.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't like snow,
Me either.
but I'm here. I'm here, but I don't like snow. So we are once again missing our good friend and co-host Zoe Mitchell. Zoe, we're thinking about you. Zoe is still out on personal time off, but we're thinking about you and we miss you, Zoe.
Absolutely.
I miss you.
All right. So, there's a lot going on. I was going to get into what today is, but let's just go right to it because we have so much going on in the world. Oh my gosh. Anyone who's just, looking at TV or on the phone, watching what's happening over the internet, scrolling through, are seeing so many stories about people, organizations, brands, and what we can learn from either what they're doing great or maybe some of the missteps they have been facing or even self-inflicting.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yes.
with that, Barika, kick us off. What is going on?
So, guys, this is definitely ripped from the headline. I'm sure you're very familiar with the fact that President Trump, ex-President Trump, actually had a dinner with Ye and Nick Fuentes, who is a known anti-Semite. So, this Monday, CNN, Don Lemon, who I believe is a consummate journalist, actually had an official from Trump's cabinet on the show and had a conversation with him that went very, very, very viral on Twitter. And I'm going to play you guys a little bit of that clip. But please keep in mind, they are talking over each other. So you'll have to really listen to get the conversation. So here it goes.
She didn't tell me they are not president of the United States. Sir, they're not the president of the United States. So the former president of the United States, and this is not whataboutism, he met with an anti-Semite. So can we stick to the former president and not do whataboutism? We can talk about those other people when there are issues, but there aren't issues right now. So do you think it was, don't you think the former president, considering what is happening, the investigation at Mar-a-Lago, the documents, the types of people who might have access to classified documents, beyond the anti-Semitism, you don't think the former president should know who he's meeting with and he's letting into his home?
And it went on and on and on like that for the majority of that 10-minute segment. So I just wanted to kind of like really talk about like the fact that person that you saw, his name is Lynn Khodorkovsky, and he is a Jewish person, and he's also talked about the fact that he is the grandson of Holocaust survivors. Mm-hmm. So he was brought on to really talk about, do you think that it is okay for a president to meet with people who are known, who is either a known anti-Semite or has been involved recently in anti-Semitic conversations, whether that, be the case or not. And so while I understand that is a very touchy subject, I just have to applaud CNN for standing by him, because one of the things that happened is that, people were calling for his resignation, for going after, trying to get the truth, to get the answer. And CNN said, no, we stand behind our journalists, because don't you want someone who's going to hold the person that they are interviewing their feet to the fire to give them an answer? And, honestly, I do. I want a journalist that's going to go after the truth, that's going to give me the information on both sides, whether it be Democratic or the left or the right. Whoever you're interviewing, I think it's your job as a journalist to make sure that you're giving them the truth of what's happening.
Agreed.
Ladies, what do you
I
think?
absolutely agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. It's interesting. We seem to be, generally speaking, because I never partake in all the fire them talk on social media, but it seems to be happening a lot more when someone does something that is deemed to be wrong. They get canceled. Remember the whole cancel culture?
Yeah, cancel culture.
Fire them, do away with them. It just seems like it's become this sort of automatic thing. People don't even think about it. They just automatically call for someone's resignation without really thinking about it. Do you think?
Yeah.
No, I think that woke culture is something that cancel culture, that's something that quickly seems to trend on Twitter, but then it goes away afterward. But anytime anyone makes a misstep or does anything, you kind of see that come out, whether it be right or the left. I think that's just something that's now a part of social media.
It is.
And just how people respond to things.
Yeah, one of the negative sides, I think, of social media.
Yeah.
Just this quickness, this immediate thing that people have this need for.
Exactly. So, yep. This is from Pop Research. He is amazing. He definitely got to the heart of the matter on that particular thing. I know sometimes he makes missteps as well, but
right.
like this morning.
Not this time. This morning. Oh boy, here we go.
Exactly. But definitely for that.
But he still has his job. He still has his
job. Yes, he does.
Yeah.
So, Patia, what stories do you have for us today?
Right. So, trending on Twitter is still carrying trending stories, right? Let's see what happens, right? Is Twitter going to be here with trending stories in a couple months? Okay. So, what I found was a Bill Murray Solange hair story. And we talk a lot about it here on this show because we're Black women. But there are two issues going on here. The obsession with Black hair is one of them. But then in terms of Bill Murray, it seems that he has an issue with invading personal space. So in 2016, it appears that Solange did a performance on Saturday Night Live. And what do you know? She performed her hit, Don't Touch My Hair. And apparently, right after she finished performing her song, Bill Murray decided that he was going to touch her hair and ask her whether it was real or whether she was wearing a wig. You have to be tone deaf, crazy. I'm really not happen here, because if somebody literally just sang a song saying not to touch their hair, then why would you do it? Anyway, the assumption, because this had trended before, was that she sang the song because of what happened at Saturday Night Live. That is not true. The song existed before this happened, and he still went ahead and he did it. So what's happening is that had been the rumor, and it seems like she has confirmed that that is exactly what happened. But the issue here is so that's the hair obsession. But the second issue here is that Bill Murray seems to have a history of invading particularly women's personal spaces, because there have been other complaints made against him. And this one, I guess it was another actress, can't remember her name, who accused him in the past. It was actually Gina Davis. Didn't want to misquote. Do you remember that one? Yeah. She claimed that he tried to use a massage device on her.
What?
Filming a movie together in 1989. So clearly, this person does not have boundaries, does not respect possibly women, personal space in general. And it's just a little unfortunate because, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but, all of these celebrities are aging and then some of them are passing on. And so what is the legacy? People remember these kinds of things about you, right? So, I mean, I don't know what's really going on there. But back to the obsession with Black women in hair and touching our hair and asking crazy questions. This incident happened in 2016. And Denise, as we were talking about it earlier, you mentioned that this is not only something that happens in the US, it's a worldwide situation.
And,
so I don't know if you wanted to jump in and share the
Yeah.
2022 version of this.
exactly. And maybe you guys have heard about it. So I'm in Boston. If you probably have heard, maybe if you're addicted to the royal life, I wouldn't say addicted, but fascinated by royal life as much as I am. And so the Highnesses, William and Catherine, are here in Boston. They got in yesterday and they're here for a couple of days. The same time all that news is breaking here, all the visits they're making around the city, news broke in the UK about a woman. Her name is Lady Susan Hussey, and she worked very, very closely with Queen Elizabeth. I forget what her exact title was, but yesterday, or a few days ago, she apparently did a similar thing where she went up to the CEO, Black woman, the CEO of a charity. Her name, if I say it right, Ngozi Fulani, the CEO of a Black charity, or she's a Black CEO of a charity in the UK, and it was at a charity event yesterday, day before yesterday, and the lady Hussey kept asking Miss Fulani where she's from. And Miss Fulani kept saying she's from the UK. She was born in the UK. She's British. But she kept saying, no, where are you really from? Like, where? And she kept saying, I am from the UK. I am just lady. I'm British. She goes, yeah, but where are you really from? Like the Caribbean or someplace? And then she went and she put her hand in her hair and started feeling around in her hair. She, of course, well, not of course, but she at least, as a result of all of the uproar, because Miss Fulani did not have this done quietly. She went on all the talk shows or media outlets and she told everybody who would listen what happened, prompting Lady Hussey to resign, which she did yesterday. But it gets back, what is this fascination that people have, mostly white folks, because not all of you do this. But what is touching our hair?
Why do you have to touch it? I don't really understand.
I don't understand it either. I really don't. There's a fascination. And you know what's funny? Well, not funny, funny, but the age thing, Bill Murray, older, Lady Hussey, I can't see. Well, who knows? Actually, I don't know. Is this a generational thing?
Is it a generational thing? But then I was telling you earlier that, like, children, they do it to other children. Like we saw the putting cotton in the little
right earlier we
that particular thing. And then we also, I experienced it with my daughter. Like, little kids will actually try and touch her hair, but that's a forgivable thing. They're curious
for a
child, but an adult should know better.
They don't, apparently. Apparently they don't. But yeah, so that was all over the news today and yesterday, coinciding with, as I mentioned, the Royals visit here to Boston. Speaking of news outside the U.S., China. So you guys are also probably watching what's happening in China. It's remarkable, these protests that are taking place in China. It's rarely happened where you have residents in China protesting and speaking very loudly and blatantly about what they're unhappy with. And so they've been holding up these white sheets of paper, as you see here. And these sheets of paper apparently represent everything that they want to say, but they cannot say.
Wow.
What's remarkable about this, there haven't been protests at this size or to this extent since Tiananmen Square back in 1989.
Yeah.
So it's dangerous for folks in China to speak out like this. Of course, as you might have heard, they're asking for the President Xi's resignation, which of course is probably not going to happen. And so what caused all this? They're very strict zero policy.
COVID policy. Yeah.
Yes. Crackdown. And There apparently was a fire, an apartment building caught fire because of the strict protocols and crackdowns against COVID. The fire trucks couldn't get to the apartment building. I can't quite figure out though what physically was happening where they couldn't get to the apartment building. Maybe they had blockades or something. I don't really know exactly what prevented it, but apparently they couldn't get to the fire in time because of the COVID crackdown. And because of that, they said 10 people were killed in that fire, and that prompted these protests. And so what I read today is China is releasing or lifting some of these, some of these crackdowns to make it a little bit easier for folks to get out and about and do things around China. But it's just remarkable that, you get to a point, government zero COVID policy and lockdowns, you get to, you push people to
the limit,
point, right? Yeah.
It happens every time though, where people are like,
enough,
not taking it anymore.
Enough.
I mean, I just, for China, there's such a censorship country. So for them to for us to be seeing images and video getting out, it has to be at a tipping point, So it's a monumental thing to see that
really
going on in history right now.
It really is. Talk about talk about this, brand rewind, the brand of China. They're to your point, Barika, they're walking a fine line here. And so probably one of the reasons they're lifting some of this lockdown protocol restrictions. But one of the things though that is part of their brand is, and I read this or saw this yesterday, they are going up to different people and checking their cell phones and seeing whether they have videos or photos of any of the protests, some of the issues going on, and they're forcing them to delete video or photos they're capturing on their phones. So the brand of China is still there. They want us to all know that China, at least for now, isn't changing. But you know what? Who knows what?
But it's out there. It's out there. We've seen it. Even I think President Biden, even though he didn't get too deep in it, he basically made a statement that he sympathizes for the people and what's going on with them right now. Yeah. But
I tell you, I've been to China several times, numerous times when I worked for Reebok, and a lot of the footwear, athletic footwear is made in Asia. So I visited several footwear factories in China and saw firsthand. Yeah, it's the minute you get off that plane. I mean, in fact, they told us before we even went, and companies will do this. They'll tell you all the international rules, what country you're going to, and things to watch out for. They're like, don't bring any personal devices with you. If you have your personal cell phone, your personal computer, because they immediately can go inside as you walk through the airport. They have the technology that can go in. Don't ask me because I'm not a techie person. Somehow they can go in and get stuff. And please guys, don't write me or text me or whatever, because I know I'm getting some of this wrong, but there is a way, or there's a fear. There's some kind of fear where we were told not to bring any of our personal devices to China. Yeah.
Wow.
This whole thing is fascinating to me. It really is.
I have not been to China, but thank you for the heads up.
Also, you know what? It's very polluted. I got sick at least 4 times. I threw up. The minute I got there, I threw up because the pollution is so thick there. It's awful. It's terrible. But anyway.
Okay.
All right.
Not on my bucket list, but
no, Beijing is actually really cool. They have great nightclubs.
I'm gonna go to Thailand.
I'm just gonna skip it.
I'm just gonna skip it. It's fine.
Where you go, carry a nice bag, right? Here we go.
Yeah.
Nice bag.
Well, speaking of luxury and nice bags, we should get into the other story that happened. So you ladies are familiar with Balenciaga, right?
Yes.
Very luxurious brand. So if you didn't know, if you hadn't heard, Balenciaga came under fire this week for their ads. They had a controversial ad campaign. I don't know if you guys have seen these images, but I just wanted you to kind of see what they got in trouble for. Now, these are very cute kids. However, as you can see, the bears are actually dressed in BDSM. So they depicted these kids alongside bondage style attire. And they also had a child pornography court ruling around this. And while they strongly condemn the fact that they do not agree with child abuse, they did share images like this for their collections. And they pulled these ads so far and issued an apology on Monday on their Instagram that they would like to address the controversies around this. And basically, they're revising the organization and the ways that they work. They are reinforcing the structures around the creative process and the validation of that creative process. They're also laying the groundwork with organizations who specialize in child protection and aimed at ending child abuse and exploitation. So they definitely have tried to, make amends with this. But, for the most part, a lot of the celebrities and people that love them, even Kim Kardashian, who is a fierce Balenciaga fan, has even decided to break ties with them and the company because of the latest round of that. Needless to say, it was definitely a wrong choice by Balenciaga. I don't know who in creative thought that this was okay to show kids next to BDSM because, and more importantly, the parents that saw this
allow their children to be a part of this campaign.
and
Well,
allow
my students in my class, because you guys know I'm a university professor, my students said that all the kids in the campaign were kids of the employees of the company. They were all the employees' kids.
Interesting. I hadn't read that. I
didn't know. They read it somewhere. Because we talked about this in class.
So that deepens, the plot thickens because you may be thinking that if you said something, you may lose your job. I don't know.
Right,
I think I would just lose my job.
I think I would lose my job before I would.
I'm sorry, but my child will not be a part of a campaign.
No.
Yeah. And you know what? I am not impressed with their apology. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe that nobody in upper management and on the board knew about this. How does a campaign like this fly by a process of approval and whatever? I just don't believe them. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just don't.
They said they could have done things differently, but to me, it is definitely reckless negligence because there's no brand that's going to allow a full-on campaign to get out and the president of the company don't see it. These
campaigns are very expensive.
Yes.
Okay.
Several
people approved this. There's no, I did not know.
I agree.
Give me a break.
I absolutely agree with you. And so hopefully they are going to take the steps about their creative validation. And I love Velvet. I love your comment. Velvet said, this is very BS. Everyone on set knew what was going on. And yes, the children are all from staff. The reason they are apologizing is because they are receiving backlash. If nobody said anything, if everybody was like, oh, that's so cute, they never would have apologized. And it wouldn't have been a child abuse thing.
And that goes with everything, right? Most people wouldn't apologize unless it all blew up.
Absolutely.
Right? Most people, at least in the public eye, wouldn't apologize if it hadn't blown up. You can think of so many
occurrences.
Will Smith comes to mind. Don't get us started talking about that.
Exactly. Please give me a break. Not by
There's so many others out there, but yeah, I agree. You have an ad campaign goes through so many approval processes and layers before it gets to us. Maybe this was all, planned. Who knows? Because we're talking about it. We wouldn't have been talking about it.
Exactly. Right.
But I'm also not going to buy anything from it. So
I don't even know where do they have okay, I'm going to show because I don't own it. Where are they? Neiman Marcus? Do they have their own?
Yeah, they're in Neiman Marcus, probably really, really high-end store, Saks, Fifth Avenue,
in cases, you need to ask the salesperson to unlock it.
I
don't have one.
But Denise, what story do you have for us this week too?
There are so many stories. So, we talk about when your brand gets turned around, a moment of poor judgment. A lot of times things happen in the heat of the moment, and if you had a moment to think more about it, you probably wouldn't do it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the case with what happened with a woman who was running from the police, driving, evading the police in her car, high-speed chase. and there was a school bus, and the school bus had stopped, and unfortunately was letting kids off the bus, and there was a mother and her 2 kids waiting for her other 2 kids to get off the bus, and a woman behind the wheel of a Mercedes with a police car chasing her ran through past the school bus and hit the mother and her kids.
Oh my
And
God.
witnesses said they saw the woman flying up in the air. I can't
Oh my
even
God.
Oh
imagine
my God.
that, flying up in the air. The kids were hit. Fortunately, no life-threatening injuries. But imagine, okay, so yes, our hearts and our prayers go to the family, the mother and her kids, who apparently are going to survive the accident. The woman behind the wheel of a car, you gotta think. At least I hope that she's like, if I had a moment to really think about this, I wouldn't have done what I did.
It's not worth it.
No, it's not worth it. My ex-husband, my kid's father, he has a childhood friend, Quillian, and she would say to my kids when they were younger, I'm probably going to get this quote wrong, but something like one bad mistake can land you in an orange jumpsuit, something like that.
Mhm.
Like one bad mistake, or one mistake lands you in an orange jumpsuit. She would say to my kids when they were young, don't, think about it.
Think
Right.
about it.
Because you could make that one judgment call and you
True.
could end up in prison.
Yeah.
So think about it before you do it. And so, yeah, I gotta believe and hope that she is rethinking that decision, because her life's going to be severely impacted.
By that.
by that,
Definitely.
psychologically, but certainly physically, and when she ends up in jail because of that. And let's hope the mother and her kids continue to recover.
Survive.
Yeah.
I just want to one quick thing. I know we're running out of time. We want to get to any more of the questions and comments, but I love football. And so we have something from the NFL that happened last week. 2 things happened last week. You may have heard about. There was a situation with Odell Beckham Jr. on a plane. And you see here his agent is saying that this whole uproar was really to do about nothing, because he simply fell asleep with his blanket over the seatbelt, because all the news was that he refused to put his seatbelt on. And apparently he went to sleep. The flight attendants come by and they tell you, hello, if you've flown one time, you're supposed to put the seatbelt over your blanket.
Yeah.
Because the flight attendants, their job is to make sure we're all safe.
So you're safe. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Right. And I would tell, so interestingly, so when I read this story about he fell asleep, he didn't have it on. So my guess is a flight attendant probably asked him, let's show your seatbelt. And he maybe, I don't know, I was on the plane. I don't know him. I'm not texting me. But my guess is he probably just didn't want to be bothered with it. And it's funny because I was flying last week, and the guy next to me, same thing. He was asleep. He was about to go to sleep. He had his seatbelt on. I was in the aisle. He was in the middle. And the flight attendant walked by, and she couldn't see his seatbelt. So she said, is your seatbelt on? And he just said yes, but he didn't do anything. She went to go walk away. And then, to her credit, she stepped back 2 or 3 steps. And she looked at him and she said, can you show it to me, please?
Right.
And he very politely lifted up his thing, so his shirt or whatever, blanket. So, and she said, thank you. And he put it back down, and she walked. If Odell Beckham had just done something like that, hello, just show your seatbelt. Just show your seatbelt. The last thing I'll say on NFL, because I love the games in NFL. This guy here, Russell Wilson, quarterback, recently drafted, moved over to the Denver Broncos. They've not been having a good year. Last week or this week, they were playing. They didn't do well. And one of his players, his colleagues, was caught on the sideline screaming at Russell Williams, who's a quarterback, the leader of the team. Shows the frustration. And this is the brand, the NFL. This is the brand of these 2 very prominent NFL players on the sideline, the frustration getting at them. And I just thought this was just such a telling moment, because it does happen. We get frustrated, but you have to remember who's watching. Like, kids are watching.
Yeah.
Kids are watching.
The world is watching.
Yeah, like, don't do this airing of dirty laundry in the public. Take it to the side, or the locker room. Yeah, the locker room. Anyway,
that's the lesson.
That's the lesson.
Right? Like, the world is watching.
Everyone was talking about it. They were all talking.
Literally.
Literally talking about it. Anyway.
Oh my God, ladies, it's 8:30.
I know. Shoo, we
Such
had a
a
lot to
great
get to.
discussion. Oh my God, the time goes quickly when you're having
So
fun.
let's just go through quickly. Any oh no, that's okay. Who's Velvet? Oh, sorry. Oh, that's okay. I'm so annoyed by this. What is Velvet annoyed by? Oh, the BS that's going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
You put that one up, Rika, already.
Yeah, she did.
Sure. Yes. But you guys are great. We love our
Brand
fans are regulars.
Our
brand rewinders.
Love our regulars. Thank you guys. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much
for watching.
Thank you for being here. Okay, so I'm assuming you guys are already a part of our mailing list because you're here. Please spread the word and direct your friends, family to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Brand Rewind, and also to subscribe to the newsletter so that they can be apprised of our upcoming shows, as well as our twice per month newsletter that we send out with additional topics at brandrewind.com.
And please, guys, be sure to join us for the next edition of Brand Rewind Live on Thursday, December 15th, the day after my birthday, at 5 p.m. PST and 8 p.m. EST. That will be our last Brand Rewind Live show for 2022. So be sure to join us to dish on the highlights of 2022. And if there's a specific story you want us to talk about, let us know either through email or check us out on Brand Rewind on Facebook.
That's right. So thank you for being here. As always, we love you guys. Appreciate your taking the time to join us. And we will see you right here in 2 weeks.
Right. Have a good evening.
Bye.
Have a good evening, everyone. Thanks.